Good morning, everybody. I'm Waddles. Welcome back. Last week, I made a video on this really cool new 1.14 crawling mechanic. If you haven't seen that video, I advise that you check that one out. There was quite a lot of interest in that video, and so I went to the drawing boards and also went down to the comments. And oh boy, this mechanic is actually really useful. Today we'll be going over 5 uses for this new 1.14 crawling mechanic. If you can think of a use that I don't mention in this video, drop that in the comments, and if I make a part 2, you will definitely get a mention. And as always, if you like what I do, drop a like and subscribe, and if you love what I do, maybe consider becoming a channel member or a patron today. So, let's start out with probably the most obvious idea here. There was a lot of talk in the comment section of the original video for this idea, so there's no direct person to credit here. But anyways, in 1.13, there's this exploit that people like to call dive mining. Basically, you jump into some water, then you can kind of jump out, and you stay in the crawling animation. In 1.14, this is no longer an exploit and an actual feature. Players can now use this mechanic to actually mine in a little bit of a different way. Now, is this better necessarily than your standard branch mining? I'm not too sure, but basically this is what I'm talking about right here. You find wherever you're going to mine, of course at Y11 for diamonds, and then you place a trapdoor on the wall. You open up that trapdoor and you'll go down into this thing, and then you start digging. If you do this, technically you wouldn't even really need to worry about lighting up this hallway. However, do keep in mind the baby zombies will spawn in this thing, and that could be a little dangerous. But basically you can carry on strip mining as far as you'd like. The only big problem that you'll face with this is when you come across an area kind of like this. Let's say we accidentally pop out of our crawling thing. Now we need a whole new trapdoor to actually re-enter the crawling animation. So that could be a little bit of a pain, especially if you were to say, maybe find some diamonds in the ceiling here, you mine those things out, and then whoops, we're trapped here. So for now, you'll definitely need to carry some extra trapdoors. Now, in terms of how could you do this efficiently? Well, if you were to place your holes, kind of like I have placed here, you would cover the most amount of blocks that you possibly could. So basically each hole here can see 4 different block faces, and then of course a 5th one that you are digging out right in front of you. So to simplify things, let's just count the side blocks. So one hall here has 4, 2 halls have 8 different blocks shown. One 2-high branch mining hallway would see 6 different blocks, again not including these back 2 blocks. If we were including the back 2 blocks, then 2 1-hall highways would see 10 different blocks, whereas one of these would see 8 different blocks. So you actually see just a little bit more blocks using this method, which is potentially worth it. I guess it really all just comes down to you and how much, effort you'd like to put into something. Of course, after jumping into this thing here, we could pull this trapdoor out and keep this one with us so we can use it again. But yeah, basically you'll need an excess of trapdoors to properly do this thing here. Moving on to idea number 2, which is actually found over in the Nether. This idea is very similar to the branch mining thing in a way, kind of. And how is there... Anyways, so the Nether is great for transportation over long distances, right? Usually players would make a 2-high tunnel in the Nether and go like 300 blocks and then make another portal, and you just traveled a whole lot of distance in the overworld. Well, we can optimize this with the new crawling mechanic here, as you can see. So at the entrance, of course, I have a trapdoor to enter into the crawling animation, and then just a long tunnel. I did go ahead and light this thing up with some fire here and there, but the nice thing about this is spawns won't be a thing. It is quite often that I either hear about or see people trying to figure out how to block pigman spawns in their nether tunnels. Well, if you make a 1-high tunnel like this, you don't have to worry about pigman spawns at all, at least for the most part. Of course, baby pigmen could still potentially spawn in here, which would be a headache, but it's a lot better than having all of the adult pigmen spawn inside of here. If you were to accidentally hit a baby pigman inside of this thing, the adults will swarm everywhere, but if all of your entrances are closed off, you should be safe inside of your tunnel system, which of course is another perk. The tunnel system could be really, really easy to get in and out of as well if you just add trapdoors here and there, so then you kind of stand up when you get to the trapdoor, and then you can maybe climb up your staircase to wherever, and then when you're ready to get back into the thing, you just jump into it, close the trapdoor, and you're ready to go. Now, let's say you really, really wanted to optimize this thing and eliminate all spawns. Well, you actually could do that. You can jump into your tunnel, so you'll need to start with a normal block here. So I guess maybe use a button at the front, but then you can take the bottom block out and throw a slab and then kind of jump down into this area, which is going to be a little tricky, but if I can get the timing right, there we go. Now we are on a half slab here and no spawns will happen, and we are still crawling. So you will need to get a lot of slabs for this, but if you are really, really concerned with getting rid of all spawns, this could be done. Oh, and not to mention, the point of doing this one high hallway is, of course, cutting out a lot of the blocks that you would have to mine. You would only have to mine one block per space instead of two, so you can walk. Crawling use idea number 3 has to do with mob-proofing your house. So let's say this is my wonderful, wonderful little survival house here. Instead of using a normal door, I'm using a trapdoor door. To get inside of the house, I would walk up and, open the trapdoor like that, and then just crawl right inside. And then inside, I have another trapdoor that I can just close to keep things out, and then we would be safe. Zombies, skeletons, and creepers, of course, can't fit through this one high spot. Baby zombies could technically run in through here, however, they can't break trapdoors. So if a baby zombie ran into here and this door was closed, it would just kind of sit inside of here and you would be safe. So then inside of your compact house, you could place all of your 1.14 blocks and then, of course, a rooftop exit. So let's say a baby zombie did crawl inside of that door and you didn't want to let it inside of your house, go up to the roof, and then you can just kind of jump off and go and do your thing. To better showcase what I'm talking about here, we have 2 husks that are chasing me. I run over here, open the trapdoor, and then go inside, and these guys will just kind of swarm around outside. No big deal, pretty easy, and we are 100% safe. They won't ever be able to hit me until I actually leave again, and they're kind of slow, so you can actually leave out the front door and just run away. So, if you saw part 1, or the first video that I made on this topic, this one is something that you will recognize. But I think this is one of the coolest uses for this feature, so I have to show it off again. Hidden button right here, I press it, and then boom, I am inside of my secret base. So, this crawling mechanic can be used for a super, super secret base entrance. Then, of course, you just replicate it on the inside so you can get back out, and everything is good. Maybe your secret base has all of your diamonds if you're playing on a server or something like that. But yeah, the thing is super easy to set up. Just a redstone line coming from the block where the button is, running over to a sticky piston on the top that pushes a block down to push us into crawling mode. And then, coming off of that same line all the way down to the bottom, we have a redstone line that turns off a torch, which depowers the bottom sticky piston, which actually opens up a hole in the wall. So the bottom block right there goes down, and this one goes down as well. The top one down. And this is very, very easy to use. It's pretty much foolproof. It shouldn't cause any lag or anything like that. So yeah, I think secret entrances is an amazing use for this new feature. And finally, before we dive into the 5th idea, I need to send a shout out over to Aloha Weave for the idea. I hope I pronounced your name right, and big thank you to you. Okay, so for this final use, we will need to go into the end and kill the Ender Dragon. This is the idea suggestion from Aloha. This is a really weird spawn, too. We'll just go out here, and the dragon, where are you? Here you are. I hope the dragon, or I wonder if the dragon is still as bugged as it was before. Hopefully not, but we should be able to just do this a few times. Yep. There we go. The dragon is gone now. Or is it? Okay, yep, there we go. Now, this use is a little more specific. There is only really one way to do this, but as of 1.14, we can say goodbye to ender pearling into these things, because if we do this, and then we can crawl right out into the next dimension. So now we are on the further end. To repeat what I just did, I have a staircase going up to the portal, and then up at the portal, I place a trapdoor so we can be, put into the crawling mode like this, and then we just go and crawl right into there. So, just like this, and then boom, we are teleported Somewhere. Yep, there we go. We're back on the end island here. So that's really, really easy to do. And now there's no risk at all of like throwing a pearl. And I mean, if it goes into the void, I don't think anything happens. But yeah, it's just way, way easier to use those portals. And I think that is a really, really cool thing. Again, big shout out to Aloha for that idea. I wouldn't have thought of this without that comment. And that is where we end today's countdown. What do you think? Which idea was your favorite? What would you be using this new crawling mechanic for? Drop an idea down in the comments below, and if I make a part 2 and I use your idea, I will of course give you a little shout out. And if you enjoyed this video, help me out please, and drop a like and subscribe. Also, if you love what I do, well, you're in luck. I have lots of other links down in the description, like the link to my Discord and my Twitter, so maybe check that stuff out. My name is Waddles. Thank you very much for watching, and go have a good day. I will see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.